Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes. I needed to jump on and do Georgia 30, Texas 15 post game analysis of that game and answer some questions that some of the subscribers wanted me to answer. So, as you all know, Texas and Georgia was the top game of the day yesterday in college football. And Georgia, I mean, listen, they came ready to play. Kirby Smart had his guys ready to roll, man. And they got out there and they played an excellent game, especially defensively. They got after Quinn Ewers all night. And even when Arch Manning got in the game, they got after him too. They played very physical. They had a very good defensive game plan, and it worked to the T. And they came away with the 30-15 victory over Texas in Austin last night. And in one instance, I'm kind of excited. I'm not excited, but I'm happy that it happened so that Texas can go back to the drawing board so they can see what it is they need to fix on their offense, because the offense has really been the issue with this Texas team the last couple of weeks. They've been having slow starts, but the defense has been playing lights out. And the one question mark that I had going into this game was the fact that our defensive secondary hasn't been tested yet. So I was wondering if our defensive secondary could answer the bell, and they did, because they only gave up 175 yards passing, no touchdowns against Carson Beck, who was considered the Heisman frontrunner before the beginning of the season. As we all know, he hasn't been playing that well at the quarterback position this season, but he led his team to a victory yesterday in Austin. So let me get to some of the questions that some of the subscribers wanted me to answer. The first question is, what's your thoughts on Quinn Ewers' play? What's my thought on Quinn Ewers' play? Well, Quinn Ewers has suffered an injury in every single season since he's been at Texas. He's missed time. I think this time around, the injury that he had to his abdomen, the strain that he had, he is being very protective of his physical health right now. I believe. This is my opinion. I think he's being very protective of his health. He's not staying in the pocket, taking those necessary hits that a quarterback has to take in order to get to your second and third read. He missed a lot of opportunities in that game on his second and third read because he was looking at the first read. If it wasn't there, he was checking it down way too quick for me. But I can understand why he was doing it, because Georgia was on him with the quickness. I mean, it was after Quinn Ewers, from the time that ball got snapped to the time it touched his hand, they was coming. And he was probably just flustered. He got happy feet. He was moving around a little bit too much instead of being composed like he was in the first couple of games of the season and just stepping up in that pocket, finding his second and third read. Because he missed quite a few receivers on the second and third read that he had enough time in certain situations where he could have got them the ball had he not got happy feet and got outside of the pocket, or didn't step far enough up into the pocket in some instances as well. So overall, I think he did as good as you could expect him to do with the pressure he was under. He went 25 for 43. We never want to throw the ball 43 times, but in this situation we had to, because we got down 23-0 at halftime. So I guess we had to throw the ball more than we wanted to. But he threw it for 211 yards and had 2 touchdowns. He had the one interception that was a really, really bad interception. He definitely should not have thrown that ball. That defensive back set him up for that throw. And he threw it right in. He stepped right in front of that ball and intercepted it. But if I had to give Quinn Ewers a grade in this game, it would probably be a D, D minus, because I really believe he could have done some things to help Texas offensively, especially in the run pass option, those RPO game. If a team knows you're not going to run, they're not respecting you pulling the ball out. They're not going to respect that. And in this game, you can see Georgia's defensive end was crashing right to the running back whenever we try to run the football. And he never had any intention on pulling it out because I believe he doesn't want to get injured anymore. He want to get as much uh, game tape on film as he can for NFL scouts so that he can get a first round draft pick grade, which right now, after that game, I don't think he has a first round draft pick grade. He might second, third round at this point. But they've seen other games where he played really, really well. When the pocket is clean, Quinn Ewers will pick you apart when the pocket is clean and he can step up in there and not have happy feet. But whenever he get them happy feet because he's afraid to get injured again, in my opinion, I think that's what it is. And when he sees that pressure coming, he his feet go all over the place. He never sets his feet the right way, and he misses throws that he should be able to make at this stage in his development in college football. He's been a starter for Texas for 3 years, and he should be playing a lot better than what he played yesterday in that game. Even though he was under a lot of pressure, he was under extreme pressure in that game from those Georgia defensive ends. In fact, they sacked him 7 times, and I think they had 3 strip sacks because we have 4 turnovers. I think 3 of them were strip sacks, and the other one was that interception that I talked about earlier. Next question. Was Georgia more physical than Texas in this game? Defensively, Georgia's defense was a lot more physical than Texas' offensive front. And going into this game, I felt like that was going to be the difference for Texas. I thought their offensive linemen would be more physical than Georgia's defensive linemen. But of course, Georgia got one of their main guys, 5-star defensive end back. I think Walker is his last name. They got him back, and he was able to. I mean, he was chewing at both of those offensive tackles. He was going at Kelvin Banks, who I thought was the #1 left tackle in college football, and he was going at uh, Cam Williams on the right tackle position. And I just think defensively, physical, Georgia was much more physical than Texas offensive line. And their physicality showed in that game because they was on Ewers all night. Now, in reverse, I believe Texas defense was a lot more physical than Georgia's offensive line too. Even though Texas didn't get the sacks, they were able to make a lot of plays defensively. And Texas defense really carried that game. And the offense really put them in some bad positions because think about it. All of Georgia's scoring in the first half were all 35 yards or less. They didn't have to go further than 35 yards to get the points that they got in that first half. The only drive they had was in the second half, going into the fourth quarter, where they had that long drive, which Texas should have been able to get off the field on that 3rd down and 11. They didn't bring no pressure. And if they would have brought pressure, I think they would have got the ball out the quarterback's hand quick enough to where they could have just tackled the guy before he got the first down, but they didn't do that. And that hurt them in the game, along with some of the other things that they did. But physically, I think Georgia defensively was more physical than Texas offense, but I also believe that Texas defense was more physical than Georgia's offense. Next question. What was the issue with Texas's O-line? I think the issue is this. Texas, I think they need to start going into 12 personnel at the start of the game and run inside plays to the running back to get the lineman in a physical mode at the start of the game, not dropping back, pass blocking. Every game we've played so far this year, Texas comes out throwing the ball, which put those offensive linemen in pass blocking mode. No. If you want to be physical, which Texas needs to be physical. They're in the SEC. You got to be physical if you think you're going to beat teams in the Big Ten and in the SEC. You got to be physical. Steve Sarkisian is a mastermind offensively. What he needs to do is start off games in 12 personnel. That's one running back, two tight ends, and run the ball through the middle so that his offensive lineman can start the game being physical. It's a must. It's a must. You can't start every game throwing the ball and not introduce your lineman right off the bat with physicality. Now, in the second half of that game, that's exactly what Texas did. They ran the ball up the middle from the start of that second half in that third quarter. Once they got the kickoff, that's what they did, and they drove right down the field on Georgia because now you've already told your lineman, listen, we got to get physical. We got to run this football. And they ran the ball basically all the way down the field on Georgia and got a touchdown and then got the 2-point conversion. But anytime you want to get your lineman rolling, you got to run the dang football. Run the football. And not outside zone. Run that ball, not sweeps. Run that ball right down the team's throat and let your linemen, who are bigger than most defensive linemen, let them eat. Let them run down the defensive lineman's throat and go ahead and impose your physicality on them. And Texas didn't do that until the second half. Because Steve Sarkisian, like I said, he's an offensive coordinator. He loves to throw the ball. He loves to throw the ball first so he can open up the run, which I think he should start running the ball immediately so his lineman can get in the mode of being physical at the start of the game as opposed to waiting and then they always in pass mode all the time. I don't think that's a good look, and I don't think he should do that. But overall, the offensive linemen, especially those tackles, they got chewed up all night by Georgia's speed rushers, and those guys was very physical, and they gave Texas trouble all night, except for that third quarter. In the third quarter, Texas was able to control their defensive line. Did Steve Sarkisian get out coached in this game? I mean, I think that's obvious. Yeah, he got out coached. He got out coached. But the thing I like about what Steve Sarkisian did was after the first half, he came out in the second half running the football a lot more effectively. I think the game plan that he had after halftime was a good game plan. The issue that he ran into was when they had Georgia 3rd and 11 on their 9-yard line, they let them get that first down. And then they did the flea flicker trick play and got another 40-something yards. Now they deep in Texas territory. That was the only drive that Georgia had over 35 yards in this game to score points. If they would have stopped them right there, Steve Sarkisian could have stayed with the game plan that he had for the second half and was to run the ball straight at Georgia like he did on the first drive. So he did fix where he was being out-coached at. Because defensively, Texas played very, very good defense. Now, everybody will say, man, they got 30 points scored on them. Yeah, they got 30 points scored on them, but they got 30 points scored on them. 23 of them came where they had short fields. Georgia had short fields. They got the ball 35 yards and in. I mean, of course you're going to score. You can get a field goal all day from there. But, of course, they were able to get touchdowns, and they were doing it so quickly that Texas defense was getting tired out in that first half. And that's how Georgia was able to get up on them 23 to 23 to nothing. And if you really look at it, Georgia had to kick 3 field goals, and they got the ball inside Texas 35-yard line 5 times, and they had to kick 3 field goals out of those 5. They only got 2 touchdowns off of that. So that lets you know that the defense was playing lights out, in my opinion, because they only gave up, I think it was 200 and something odd yards total offense in that game. They did not give up 300 yards total offense to Georgia in that game. And Carson Beck only threw for 175 yards in that game. So I do believe that Steve Sarkisian got outcoached in that first half for sure. But I think in the second half, he made some changes. We just didn't get that defense to stop to where we could continue to run the football, because you're down 2 scores going into the fourth quarter. You know how it is. You got to throw touchdowns, and you got to get a 2-point conversion. So you got to throw the football. And I think that's why Quinn Ewers ended up having to throw 43 passes in this game, because we don't ever want to throw 40-something passes in a game. But when you're down and you got to get a quick score, that's how you get it. Quickest way to score is to throw the ball. So that's what happened. But I believe Steve Sarkisian got out coached in this game, at least in that first half. Next question. Were there any bright spots for Texas in this game? Oh, yeah, there was a whole bunch of bright spots. I mean, if you go back and you watch that game, you got Jahdae Barron, who had 2 interceptions. Texas defense picked off Carson Beck 3 times, twice in the first quarter. Twice. We got the ball on their 40-yard line, and this is another thing that hurt Texas in this game. You got the ball on Georgia's 40-yard line, and you got a chance to make a play, and Trey Wisner drops the little short pass. He drops that pass, and all he got is green pasture all the way to the end zone. All he got to do is outrun some guys to the end zone. But he dropped the pass. That can totally change the outlook of the game, because now Texas is up 7-0. But he dropped that pass, man, and that really hurt Texas offense. Because if you ever play sports, you know how it is when you're in a battle with somebody, and you know it's going to be a grueling game. It's going to be 4 quarters, and you got a chance to make a play and you don't make it. Sometimes it just get in your psyche as a team. You're like, oh man, come on, bro, you got to make that play. And sometimes it bothers you the whole game. I'm not saying that's what happened to Texas, but not making that play really hurt them. And it gave Georgia a chance to continue to do what they wanted to do defensively, because they weren't playing from behind anymore. They were able to take the lead after that time. But Jahdae Barron was a bright spot for the defense. Listen, Alfred Collins, he balled out. Number 95 defensive tackle, Alfred Collins, he balled out. Anthony Hill balled out. Andrew Makuba balled out. Michael Taft, the other safety, he balled out. We had a lot of players that really played really, really well. And I think defensively, that was our bright spot. And offensively, Golden, the wide receiver, man, he really made a lot of plays for Texas, especially when Isaiah Bond went out the game. Matthew Golden was our dude, man. Number 2, the wide receiver. He was our dude. He was able to make a lot of plays for us, get us out of some of the jams that we were in. But our third down efficiency was bad. I think we were like 2 for 15, something like that. You can't ever win a game going 2 for 15 on third down, especially when you're a team like Texas, who has been at 50% all season. So my bright spots is the defense was very, very good, very good. Even though they gave up 30 points. But when you look at that game and see how Georgia was able to score their 30 points, you'll say Texas defense balled out, especially when Georgia got so many short fields in that game. Next question. What does Texas need to do to win the rest of their games and possibly meet Georgia again? So I believe what this subscriber is asking is they believe that if Texas wins out, they could possibly beat more Georgia again if Georgia wins out as well. What Texas needs to do is they got to fix the problem they have with starting games slow. They're starting games way too slow offensively. Their defense, every question that we need answered about Texas's defense has been answered so far in this season. The only question I had going into the Georgia game was Texas defensive backs going to be able to play against a much better quarterback, which is the best quarterback we faced so far in Carson Beck, and was those defensive backs going to be able to cover receivers that Georgia had with some speed and some size? And Texas answered that question for me. We already knew they had a solid run defense. We already knew they had great linebackers. We just had the question about the defensive backs because they hadn't faced a top-notch quarterback and top-notch receivers. But they answered that question for me. Um, but like I said earlier, they really need to get off to a fast start in every game. And I think the way they need to do that is you got to start the game running plays that you have your linemen being physical. Start the game in 12 personnel. Steve Sarkisian is an offensive guru. He can create passing plays out of 12 personnel. He's been able to do it his whole career. You still got two wide receivers. You got two solid tight ends that if you do need to do some passing, you can. But that way, if we go in 12 personnel, we can run the ball physically up the middle and do what we need to do to get yards. Even if it only gets you 3-4 yards of play, you can still get a first down that way, as you've seen them do in the second half of that game against Georgia. They were able to do that against Georgia in that second half, but when they gave up that touchdown, they had to go back to the pass game and they had to abandon the run. But if you start out in 12 personnel, tell your lineman, listen, we going out there, we're going to get physical and we're going to eat. And then when you get later on in the game and you can start doing play action and all that, then you can go ahead and get those guys doing the little pass pro stuff. But right now, we got to get physical with teams because this SEC is not going to get any lighter on Texas. They got Vanderbilt, they got Arkansas, they got Florida, they got Texas A&M, and they got Kentucky. All of those teams want to play physical, all of them. So that's what I think Texas needs to do to win out and to possibly beat more Georgia again. But Georgia got to win out too. Georgia ain't got no cupcake schedule. And hopefully what Georgia doesn't do is they don't think that, oh, they're at the top of the mountain because they beat Texas. Don't think you're at the top of the mountain because just like Texas probably thought they was at the top of the mountain, and guess what happened to them? They got beat 30-15. So you don't want that to happen to you. And you had some games that, you had some tough challenges against Mississippi State and Kentucky. And then you end up losing to Alabama. So hopefully Georgia got their wake-up call because they played really good against Texas. Hopefully they don't get lulled to sleep because of what they did against Texas. Let me see what my man Level Up Sports 10 thought the comeback was on after rushing drive. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I did too. Level Up Sports 10. I definitely thought that Texas would get back in it, and I thought for sure they was going to get off the field in that 3rd and 11 from Georgia's 9-yard line. And when they didn't do it, and then they come back with the double, with the fake reverse, pitch it back to the quarterback, and he caught the tight end. That was a hell of a play that Bobo ran for Georgia too, man. That was a heck of a play call, and they got to them down in Texas territory. Then Texas was in trouble at that point. They couldn't run the ball like they wanted to. You said I was right about the defense. It's for sure good secondary as well. Yeah, man. They played lights out, man. They played lights out. So hopefully the defense can continue to do that. But we need that offense to play some complementary football because they haven't been doing it since the Michigan game. Another question: What's your thoughts on Quinn being taken out of the game? Now, this is where I give Steve Sarkisian some credit because it was obvious that Quinn Ewers was rattled in this game. Sometimes you got to let a guy go to the sideline and see the offense work while you're watching it from the sideline. So that way you can see what's happening, what the other quarterback is doing to try to make some changes or to try to beat the defense. So that way when you get back in there, you can do the same. And I think that if Texas would have been able to, like I said earlier, stop Georgia on that 3rd and 11, Quinn Ewers could have kept giving the ball to the running back and doing the other things he was doing on that drive to make Georgia, have to sit back on their heels. And another thing that I think would have helped them by running the football, teams are always going to play Texas with a 2 high or 3 high safety look. Why? Because Texas has wide receivers that are burners. They don't want the ball to get thrown over their head. So they're going to keep those safeties back, either 2 high or 3 high safeties. So that way it makes it a lot easier for you to run the ball. And so if Texas comes out physical, running the ball straight at a team, they can make some things happen and they can make sure that their offensive line is being physical throughout the game. But other than that, man, I think it was a good idea for him to take Quinn out and to let Quinn know, listen, I just need you to see it from a different perspective. Second half, when we come out, boom, you're the man. I mean, we know he's our quarterback. He's going to be our quarterback for the rest of the season. There's no way that Steve Sarkisian he's going to give Quinn Ewers every opportunity that there is to prove to NFL scouts that he's an NFL caliber quarterback, even though he didn't play like it against Georgia. He's going to give him every opportunity to prove that so that the NFL sees that they got a good quarterback coming in who's played a lot of football at the University of Texas. Quinn just need to get his weight up. He need to get in that weight room. He need to get physically stronger because, 3 years in a row you've taken hits. Like the first year against Alabama when he separated his shoulder. And then last year against Houston, he took a nice hit, separated his shoulder. And this year, just in throwing motion, he pulls a muscle in his abdomen. You got to get physically stronger, Quinn Ewers, so that way, and you got to start doing this too. When we run RPO, you got to be willing to pull that ball and get us 3 to 5 yards every time if they crash down on that running back. Because Georgia was crashing straight to the running back. They wasn't even thinking about Quinn Ewers pulling it and running. And I understand why he's not doing it because he's trying to make it to the NFL and he doesn't want to get hurt and miss any more time. But you ain't doing yourself no favors if you don't pull it, get as much as you can get and slide so that you don't have to take no hits. But I think that was a good idea for him to take Quinn Ewers out at that time just so he can get his mind right. Let me see what else my man Level Up Sports 10 and my man City League TV got for me. Oh, definitely Level Up Sports 10. That crowd was in it. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on because I think that's one of the questions on here about that bottle throwing incident. But listen, that crowd was in it, especially in that second half, that third quarter. Oh, bro, they was in it. They was in it. Yeah, I didn't send a leak out City League TV. I just got on here by myself. I didn't know what y'all's plans were, and it was last minute, and I didn't want to interrupt anything that y'all had going on, man. My bad, but I just didn't want to. Especially I knew you was coming in from out of town. I didn't want to interrupt anything, so I didn't send out a link. My bad though, bro. And my man Level Up Sports 10, much credit for him to see what he then attacked. Yeah, man. Yeah, he I thought he played really good in the third quarter. He really everything he did in that first half, it went out the window with me because in that third quarter, man, he played really, really good. I think, like I said earlier, if we would have made that stop, we could have still went with the game plan that we had set for the second half to run the ball and then to get those passes behind those linebackers, those quick ends, but we weren't able to stop them, man. And I think that hurt them. Now we had to throw the ball down the field because the linebackers ain't got to crash. Now if you're not running the ball, the linebackers ain't got to crash. All they got to do is drop and let those two defensive ends eat. And they was eating to 7 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. Let me see what other questions the subscribers have for me. Will Texas let this loss beat them twice against Vandy? This is a really good question because a lot of times in games like this, a team will lose and then they'll go into that next game still wearing the effects of that loss. And I don't think Texas is going to do that. They got some of the best coaches in the country. They're going to coach those guys up, and they're going to be ready for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, in my opinion, is a really good team. But what they're about to get, I think, against Texas, if I'm a coach at Texas and what I'm going to have my players ready to do, I'm quite sure, Steve Sarkisian and his coaches are going to have Texas thinking the same way. Listen, we're going to go out here and we're going to impose our will on Vanderbilt. We're going to let them know that, man, listen, this is the SEC and we top notch. And we ain't letting you get that stuff off like you got to get off against Alabama and go in there and wreck house. I really believe Texas is going to do that, and I don't think they're going to let Vandy beat them and they get 2 losses because they still hung over from that loss to Georgia. So I don't think so. At least I hope not. But I've seen it happen before many, many times. Let me see what my man C League TV. I'm definitely tired but available. I feel you, bro. Hopefully tomorrow, because I won't be able to be on tomorrow or Wednesday since after school program is starting. So hopefully my man Mossberg's Level of Sports 10 and some others can go ahead and cover down and have it going. You know what? I'll send you the link after I get done with these questions, and then you can jump in if you want. You and Mossberg, if y'all want. While I'm doing these questions, then I'll send y'all the link. I hope I can send the link. I don't know if I can or not. No, I don't. Let me see. If I can do that. Oh, thanks, bro. Let me see. All right, next question. Then I'm gonna try to send y'all the link. Texas defense played well, in my opinion. What's your thoughts on Texas defense? Man, listen, that defense is the real deal. Anytime, I'm telling you, Georgia really got blessed in that game that they didn't have to drive all the way down the field to get the scores that they had to get. They got short fields, and with those short fields, they took advantage of it. Unlike Texas didn't take advantage of their short fields. And the 2 that Texas got, they didn't take advantage of them. I think they got 2. They might have only got 1. But they didn't take advantage of those short fields. And had they would have taken advantage of those short fields, they probably would have changed the outlook of that game. They probably would have been able to run more in the first half, and they probably could have caused Georgia to have to play a different style of ball and maybe take away those safeties, 2 high safeties, and move them into the box to try to help stop the run. But that didn't happen. But Texas defense, man, they are legit. They are really legit. And I'm excited at the fact that we got a defense that can win games for us. And we haven't had that in a long time. A defense that can go out there, shut a team down, and get some wins. They only gave up 7 points in that second half of that game, which lets you know that anytime a defense can do that to a team, you got a good, solid defense. And they answered all the questions that I had about them. in that game because I thought for sure that our defensive backs hadn't been challenged yet, but they were able to go out there and ball out. And the defensive line, they played really well as well. I also sent the link into our thread in case y'all want to jump on for a little bit. Let me see what my man C League TV. Georgia looked more prepared than I've seen. Man, listen, man, you spot on, bro. They came in that game prepared. They was like, no, we are not going into Texas, letting these guys do us like they did Alabama last year. They came prepared, man, and they came with something that I don't think Texas was prepared for offensively. Now, I think if they meet again in the SEC championship, Texas will be a lot better prepared than they were this time because Georgia definitely did some things that Texas didn't game plan for, in my opinion. I don't think they game plan for that. But I agree with you. They came prepared. Another question the subscriber had was, what's your thoughts on the refs changing the pass interference call? I mean, to be honest with you, it wasn't a pass interference in the first place. I think it was a bad call, but at the same time, I don't know how you go back and you change it. Um, that kind of didn't sit good with me because I mean, if you're gonna make your call and stick with it, even though it was the wrong call, and we want referees to get better. But what it did make me think about was should holding calls and pass interference calls, when they're called, should they go to the booth? Should they be reviewable? I think those calls probably should be reviewable because a lot of times those plays really affect outcomes of games, sometimes drives. And I think that pass interference calls, and even though they're judgment calls, I think that they should be up for review. Now, I don't know how they're going to make that work, but I think a coach should be able to challenge whether or not it was a holding call and they have somebody in the booth that can review it, or pass interference call, somebody in the booth can review it but it has to be at the coach's request. I don't think it should be a situation where you stop the game so much that you got to review every holding and every pass interference call. But I think they do really need to work on that aspect of the game because sometimes you see some holding calls at full speed that once you get to see it in slow motion, it's not a holding call that you will call had you seen it in slow motion. In my opinion, Yeah, they sure were. They sure were lights on the second half, bro. For sure.
What it do? What it do?
What's up, bro? How you feeling? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just relaxing, bro. I'm just
Okay, did you have a
relaxing,
good
and
time
I
down there?
saw, man, bro. I had a great time, man. I had a great time. Baby girl did good for her first live college, actually. But we get into that later. Let's stay on track. Hey, look, but I just was strolling on Facebook and I saw that you had put it out there in the book that you was gonna be on here talking about your Longhorns, and I'm like, dang, I ain't get that memo. But I feel you, bro, because I'm
Yeah,
definitely tired. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. I'm tired.
yeah,
So
I feel you.
yeah, but I definitely ain't too tired to talk no football. But Georgia,
I know
Georgia
that's
came
right.
out. Georgia came out like all of that smack I've been talking about them all year. They ain't look like that yesterday. They
No,
didn't look
not
like
at
that
all.
yesterday. They didn't look like how they've been playing. I don't know if y'all just woke the beast back up, or if they just found a little, or if y'all just came out a little bit too lackadaisical. Because the crowd, like you say, the crowd was on fire. The atmosphere,
Yeah,
the atmosphere was it. The atmosphere was it. So everything was there. Everything was there for Texas. It just, I mean, I don't know what happened. It happened so fast, and I
Yeah,
think that was just
I
Texas
think
not ready for what was about to happen.
yeah, I think the coaches seen the same thing that we saw out of Georgia thus far, and they prepared Texas based on what they saw so far, like what we saw so far. And I think they weren't prepared and ready for what Georgia brought at them. Because once they got that defensive end back, that Walker kid, man, that played, that kid, man,
Hmm.
listen, he gave us trouble all day. Him
That's
and
a
number
great
11,
point.
13 and they gave us heck all day, man, and we could not block them. And I thought we had two of the better left tackle and right tackle in the country, but they made them dudes look below average
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
game.
they must. Yeah, my fault. But yeah, that was. I think maybe even the players might have thought too for a second that, this ain't the same Georgia, so we got them. Like what you just said, the coaches may have been licking their chops, and then the players as well. And we know we all can think like that just a little bit. Although we know they knew they had to go out there and play that game, but Georgia didn't look the way that they looked yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. So the next question that was on the table from the chat was, "What's your thoughts on the fans throwing bottles and debris on the field?" Man, I don't like that kind of stuff, man. Whenever there's a call that you don't agree with that the referees make as a fan in the stadium, throwing stuff on the field is never, never, never the response that you want to get. It's never the answer. If you want to boo the refs, get loud, make some noise, do all that kind of stuff, but don't throw stuff out there on the field. That's just not good, man. It's not good sportsmanship.
Yeah,
It's not safe. You just don't want to do that kind of stuff. And I didn't like that about those Texas fans, even though they didn't agree with that call. That call, them doing that might have made them referees change that call, though. I don't know. But you never should do that. Make some noise, boo, whatever you got to do, but don't throw stuff. Never throw stuff. What's your thoughts on that?
yeah,
Did you get to
and
see?
yeah, I didn't get to see it, but you just have to think too in this day and age where anything can happen, and really like just throwing something out on the field, which we don't know what that something might be. You know what I mean? Like it could be multiple things. It could be more than a water bottle. You could be out here trying to, poison people or something, or
Right.
anything. I just think like that because that's what type of world we live in right now and stuff
Yeah.
like that. There's no place for that. There's no place for that with the event where young men are out here, risking it all for a game. We throwing bottles out there.
Right. Yeah. Like I don't know if you ever seen Texas Tech play, but at their home games, they throw tortillas. They throw them little soft tacos out there. But I mean, that's the least way
I've
that they
seen it.
can.
I've seen it before. But yeah, even things like that, man. You gotta get that stuff out of here, man. Because we still, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we still have to protect those student athletes and everybody that's working in those stadiums. You still have to protect them, and it's just too much stuff going on in the world to let people do things like that freely.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I thank God that they got rid of the glass bottles. Remember, they had to have the glass bottles at the games.
Yeah,
I'm glad they
yeah,
got rid of that.
yeah, yeah.
That was all the questions I had about that Texas and Georgia game. Anything else you want to add, or any questions you might have based on what you saw in that game?
Um, no, all of mine is just in a nutshell. That wasn't the Georgia we seen all year, and Texas didn't come prepared to go from the get go. That would be my short little clip of that whole game right there.
Yeah, I'm starting to look at this game a lot like in comparison to the Ohio State and Oregon game, not how the game was played, But the position that it put Texas is in the same position that Ohio State is in now, and they hope that they can get back to the championship game so that they can face. Just like I know Ohio State want to get back to the championship game so they can face Oregon again.
Yeah, yeah, and like you say, just like Ohio State, Texas isn't hurt. They're not hurt one bit. That loss didn't hurt them one bit. It didn't hurt them out one bit. All they had to do, go back to the drawing board. Now we know. Listen here, if we want to get to where we want to get to, we cannot come out flat-footed. And take care of it. Try to correct it and run the table and see whoever you see in the SEC championship, which could be Georgia. And what a rematch! I mean, we know ultimately they want Georgia and Alabama, but really they would love to have that Georgia and Texas rematch.
Yeah, it'll be a large build up to see if
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's what I want to see too. Hell, I want to see
Texas. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna keep it all the way real. That's what I want to see. I want to see Texas and Bama with Texas getting that get back.
Right, for sure.
But it's gonna be interesting now with that first round of the playoffs. The teams that don't make it in that top four. Like, I would want nothing more than for those sunny weather teams to have to go up north and play somebody in late December.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Not inside of a dome. Yeah.
I would definitely like to see that too. Just so you can see, just so the world can see, this is how football should be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It shouldn't always be in a sunny, good weather area. Sometimes football is played in some snow, in some rain, in some cold. You know?
Yeah. Open air, not inside of a dome. You know what I mean?
Right.
But just where it's like in the NFL, coming the end of December. I don't care what team you got. Miami, San Fran, you better be able to play. January, you better be able to play. If you have to travel out there to Cleveland, you better be able to play. You better be ready. But they do it year in and year out. College doesn't, and it ain't something that you just adapt to quickly.
Level Up Sports was saying he thinks Sark found something playing both QBs. I think in some of those games going forward, he might pull Art Manning in there just to give a team a different look. Not necessarily to pull Quinn out because Quinn's not playing good, but just to get a defense a different look. Because next year when we got Art as our quarterback and we run those RPO plays, teams are going to have trouble with Arch Manning and them RPOs because if he pull it, he can run. Quinn's not going to do that. So you're going to have to respect the fact that that Arch Manning can run that football, man, which is going to make our RPO game much better. Even though Steve Sarkisian don't like those types of quarterbacks, he can't pass up on an Arch Manning, though.
I mean, I didn't see much from Arch when he put him in there.
No, he didn't do
and I don't, and for that reason, I'm not a big fan of the two quarterback system because I don't care what you say. All I'm talking about, it's teamwork, make the dream work, and all of this and all of that. As a former quarterback, we don't like sitting on the sideline watching somebody play our position.
I know that's
We
right.
We don't, and especially if you feel like that's your position. So I don't know about the two quarterback thing. I mean, and then still too at the end of the day, who does it hurt? It hurts your starting quarterback. regardless.
Starting
Okay,
quarterback.
QB go in, and he do okay or he do good. Fans cheering, like shit, he should be in there. Now you go back in there, and now you have to think about, am I going to come back out? When I'm gonna come back out?
Yeah,
If I make this pass right here, am I going to come out the game? I want my quarterback to be
yeah,
free. I want him to feel free. I don't want him to worry about anything. So I just don't. The only way I'm doing I have two quarterbacks playing at the same time. That's it. Just if one of them is purely a running quarterback, and even the other team know that he about to run this ball. You know what I mean? Then I'll switch it. I can
yeah,
switch it up like that, but I'm not gonna switch it up and give him like no series or two series or whatever or whatnot, and have my QB1 just sitting over there watching and looking at the game from the outside. My QB1 has too much experience for that, and he's not hurting our team. So until he's hurting our team, then I have to do it. But if he's not hurting our team, we were still the number one team in the country. I'm not making that move.
yeah. I was in favor at before the season started that to have Arch Manning come in at certain times in each of those games so they can get some playing time in case we did have an issue with Quinn getting hurt. But they didn't go with that. I thought maybe two series a game he should have got to play just so he can get some action because
Yeah,
you
just get
never
his feet wet.
know. Yeah, get his feet wet. Yeah, but Quinn
Yeah,
ended up going out for 2.5 games, so Arch got all that playing time that he would have got anyway. So we know what he could do once he did get his opportunity. I was in favor of that, but I'm not in favor of having a two quarterback system. And I don't think that's what Level Up Sports 10 was saying either. I think he was just saying that if need be, Steve Sarkisian
oh yeah,
would
absolutely, absolutely.
put it out
And I
there
see
like
where
this.
he got down there where he said you can't prepare for a pair quarterbacks like that either, which can make it tough on the defensive coordinator when you have to think like Arch is gonna come in now. So and we know when
Yeah,
Arch come in, he can run better than Quinn. So
right, right.
yeah, I feel him on that end. That was just my personal opinion.
Yeah. Okay, cool, cool. Well, that's all I have, bro. Hopefully, Level Up Sports 10, you can do the live tomorrow. Um, and then send the link out into that thread so that we all can to know that it's there. And then if anybody can join you, they can join you. And then you can do put all the stuff in the chat, um, all the games, the scores, and all that, like I was doing on my end. If that's something that you want to do, or if you need some help, give me a call or text me, and then I can help you out.
Yeah, but you'll have to show me how to do that too, bro. For whenever I might be on by myself or whatever, whatnot.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely do that. I can definitely show both of y'all. Um, I mean, if y'all don't already know what to do, I can definitely do that.
And
I
possibly
appreciate
like
you.
I don't
No,
know
go
how
ahead.
many like tomorrow. I don't know how many games I'm going to actually have. But like
Uh-huh.
if he started at 8, I might be able to get up in there sooner. But it
Yeah,
not it was just something just to throw out there. But Big C usually come on Monday too though, right? So Big C and Poe might be in there.
he only doing Wednesdays now. Big C only doing Wednesdays now, and
Oh,
then
Big
I'm
C,
only
yeah,
gonna
he
do
did just say Wednesday.
yeah
Yeah, and you said you was what, Tuesday and Thursday?
Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah, then I do Saturday and Sunday mornings too. Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday morning. Uh huh. Woo, that's a lot, bro.
Hey man,
That's a
it gotta be a
lot.
lot, man. I look at these other people's channels, man. They going three or
They
four
got them
times a day,
coming,
but
don't they? Yeah,
that's their
yeah.
main job though. Yeah, that's their
Keep
main
them,
job
keep
though.
them
They ain't,
coming.
yeah.
Hey, I got something though, or unless you have to cut it off.
Oh no, go ahead.
And because I know we don't have a special show for this one, and that was a good special Texas show. And actually, I was supposed to have one last week. I was supposed to come on like right after our game, and I was also thinking that we probably should do that for our teams anyway. You know what I mean? Like I think like hitting it right after the game while everybody's feelings and everything's still all up in it and stuff. You know what I mean? And it's live and it's fresh. But yeah, I was kind of upset with myself that I didn't do that. But I had some things going on at the house that ain't allowed for me to do it even if I wanted to. But yeah, like
Yeah,
even
yeah,
like you doing now the next day, like I ain't even do it the next day because there's been some
yeah.
good
So
stuff to
y'all want me
talk
to
about.
start
But say that again.
I'm gonna end this live stream and then we can just chat on here. You don't have to. Oh man, Mossberg probably can't come
Oh,
either.
oh no, I was going to ask a question for the stream. That's what I was saying.
Oh
If
yeah,
you
yeah.
had to shut it down,
Go ahead.
you can shut it down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
we
ahead.
could. We could talk our regular talk. In our chats if we have to. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
about these teams and these games. So now we got Michigan up there that just took their third loss, right?
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
do you what do you think about that, man? And how
Listen,
surprised
I
how
was.
surprised are you?
I'm really not surprised. I'm gonna tell you why I'm not surprised. Because once I seen them play Texas, and I seen how that game went, and I seen that they didn't have a quarterback. I think I did another show after that, and I said that Michigan will probably go 7-5. And so this morning, me and Howard was on this morning, and we looked up their remaining schedule. And
Mm,
I love all my homies who are Michigan fans, but listen, they
mm.
may not make a bowl game, man.
They may not.
The, they may not make a bowl game. Listen,
They
I'm
gonna
gonna
hey,
pull
they
up their
gonna be
schedule
fighting
real
for
quick.
their life when they get to us. And that's what it's gonna depend on.
They're gonna be fighting for their life, man.
They're gonna be
Look
fighting
at
for
their
their life.
schedule.
So don't yeah, go ahead.
They got Michigan State next week.
Mm.
I mean, that's a toss up. You don't know who's gonna win
Yeah,
that game.
because
I don't want to project you wrong.
Michigan State gonna come ready. They know they got a chance,
They,
so that's all they need is
yeah,
to know they got a chance.
yeah. Then they got Oregon coming into the big house.
Mm.
Then they got to go to Indiana. Then
Mm.
they get a
And they
bye
couldn't
week.
even beat Illinois at all. And we gonna talk about Indiana a little bit too.
Yeah. Then they got Northwestern in the big house, and then they got y'all in the shoe. They might not make a bowl game. They 4-3 right now, bro.
Mm. Mm. So that
They
means they have to beat. You said they 4-3, so that means
yeah.
they have to beat Michigan State,
Northwestern, Michigan State. They got
and you
and
know they're gonna
Northwestern.
beat
They got
North. We're gonna say they're gonna beat Northwestern, or are we not gonna give them any type of free passes for nobody? What's up? Northwestern
listen.
can pop them. They might go that far down into the tank. And I made a post on social media today. Dog, you've never seen a defending champion look like this. You've never seen a defending champion look like this. And all three of those quarterbacks that they all have to at least be 4 stars. So let's not act like they bought some bums in, but
Yeah.
they sure is looking bummy. Oh man, it's ugly, man. Yeah. So all right, that's all I have for them. We ain't make it into a whole little show, but it's I counted them for quite a few losses when we did our Big Ten preview before the season started. I thought it was going to be ugly from the giddy up, and not just as a Michigan hater. Oh, okay. That must be Saturday you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be Saturdays. Yeah, but what you think Indiana the truth? It's a little bit of Big Ten
Indiana,
talk.
Indiana, the truth, bro.
How true you
Indiana,
think they are? Because guess what?
they're not.
I was looking at Illinois like that too. Like this game was kind of going to show like is Illinois really a team to be reckoned with in the Big Ten? And like we need that as a conference so that when we do get in these playoff games and we do play these other conferences, we need teams that can play, not just Ohio State and Michigan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or now, not just Ohio State and Oregon and Michigan. You know what I mean? And Penn State. We need you. We need you, Illinois. We need you, Indiana. You know what I mean? We need you, Wisconsin, Iowa. And now USC and UCLA. Ohio State been carrying the Big Ten for so long, man. Like, and almost
yeah,
just like by ourselves, we want some other company to come and try to show that we got some good ball going on up here. Yeah,
I think if teams look at what Indiana has done, teams like Illinois, Maryland, Rutgers, what Illinois did
hmm
was Illinois got a whole team full of guys from group of group of five teams
yeah,
that guys have played for 2 and 3 years at that level that's played a bunch of football though. They played a bunch of
yeah.
football. And they got a
Well,
team full
that's
of
what
those
Indiana
guys.
did.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Indiana. That's what Indiana did. That's
Oh
why they
yeah,
look
they
at
got
something
they
like
got the
that.
coach, and then the coach bought half the team. The
Yeah,
coach
yeah.
bought every single dog they had, and I want to say they went undefeated last year, or they only lost one game. It was one of them. But he took
Yeah.
all of his dogs, and it appears that they all right. They all right. They for real, and we have to play them. And I need them. I need them to play like that. I need them to look like that.
Right. For sure. For
We
sure.
need that. We need that in our conference. I think you probably can relate too. Like for real, for real. I mean, the Big 12 was just really Texas and Oklahoma, right? But
Yeah, that's
Texas
all it
fell off
was.
for a little bit. But Texas fell off for a little
Oh
second
yeah.
though. And then that
Yeah, they
allowed a
sure
couple
did.
other schools just pick. But just as far as just at the top is Texas, Oklahoma, then everybody else. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But y'all's conference has gotten some help. Ours too, but I would say more Big 12 because Baylor had a run, Kansas State had a run, TCU had a run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so, they had multiple teams, and I don't know if I'm leaving anybody else out other because you automatically got Texas and Oklahoma, but that's three other teams that I know had nice little run.
Yeah, they did.
We
Kansas
don't
State,
have that
Oklahoma
in
State, and TCU. Oh, Baylor.
big.
Yeah, that's four of them. Yeah, they
Yeah,
all
yeah.
had a little run.
Ours would just be okay. Ain't nobody made no runs but us. You know what I mean? Like, of course, Penn State to be somebody or be ranked all right, and what I mean, Michigan State before their recent decline right here in the past couple of years. But we need more than just a few teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For
And I
sure.
think that NIL stuff is it's gonna bring a little bit of parity because teams can give their homeboys money and we can go play together here instead of going there and make money.
Yeah,
There'll
and
be
you
a
can
lot
get
of that going
experienced
on.
players, and you
Yeah,
can get them experienced players from those group of 5 teams, just like remember back in the days when JUCOs was hot. You know what I'm saying? JUCOs
Yeah,
ain't hot
yeah,
no more.
yeah.
So
That's how you
five
go.
teams.
Nope, not as hot as they were. And now, not since you can go get anybody from anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, they destroyed Division 1 for the high school seniors, man. And that's it. And
yeah,
mainly in basketball. Well, basically in all sports, but we know it affects most of us, basketball and football. So, like, it kills. So now you take that amount of high school seniors that was getting these Division 1 scholarships. Every person that transfers in the NIL is equivalent to that senior getting a scholarship. And that's what they've taken away from the seniors of high school now. Why am I going to get a senior when I can go get a junior that done played 2 3 years, or a senior that done
right.
played 4 and got a graduate year? Yeah. So yeah,
True, true.
and we're actually seeing some good football out of it.
Oh, definitely some really good
We're actually
football.
seeing some good
Really
football
good
out of
football.
it, and I don't think now that Georgia's automatically going to get those top dogs as they've been doing for the past probably 10 years. And I think that's why Nick Saban left. He's like, I'm not going to be able to continue to recruit at the level that I've been doing for the past 15 years. So I'm just going to step down while I'm on top. You ain't gonna have me fighting
Yeah,
for a national championship when I don't have to. I just got an easy road to the playoffs.
yeah. You know they had 115 4 and 5 star 2025, 2026, 2027 players at that game yesterday for their official visits, man.
Yeah.
115. That's nuts.
Wow. That's crazy. Only in Texas.
Yeah.
Only in
Yeah.
Texas, baby. Everything big in Texas. Texas be going crazy with stuff, man.
For
We
sure.
ain't bringing no hundred of them up in the shoe. We ain't bringing 100. But
Now,
what an atmosphere to give them. What an atmosphere to get those young student athletes, man. Beautiful. And they earned all of it from their hard work, man. Beautiful.
yeah.
I love it.
Mossberg. Did you see Mossberg was telling us in the thread that he'll have more streaming time during the day, which would be great. Uh, he
Uh-huh.
go ahead and jump in here for some live streams, man. You
Yeah,
know.
that'll just be us, what I mean, doing more of our stuff, like his Level Up Sports 10 stuff too. Like a couple times a
Yeah.
week too or something. Yeah, yeah.
I got
I'm
my
about to
iPad.
get. You said you got
I
what?
went and got my iPad. So when we start recording those city league games, I got my iPad. I just gotta order me a tripod power forward. Then if somebody
That's
want to
what's
use this
happening.
camera I got, they can use that camera. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get everybody's name so I can get it to Doc down at Columbus City, so
Cool,
we can
cool.
make sure everybody good to get on the list.
All right, cool. Well, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for my work
Yes,
week.
sir. We didn't
Go
hear
get
that.
my
We done went past our hour.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So
Me too, bro. Man, we good, man.
all right, bro. I'm glad you're back home safe, man, and hopefully I'll probably see you on stream Tuesday. And we'll be in the chat
Yes,
all day
sir.
tomorrow too. So
Yes, sir. For
I'll get in
sure.
touch with you.
Okay, bro. All right. Enjoy your week, bro.
Yeah, you too, bro.
All right. Later.
All right, peace.